Welcome to the EnteleCast by EnteleKey, the weekly gaming news and discussion show that's mostly in English. We have some great topics for you today, guys. But first, we're very excited to bring you this show. We've been planning it for weeks, and we're gonna be mostly talking about topics that we are most interested in, and we're gonna be having conversations about it on this show, and we hope you like it. But first, who are we? Well, we collectively are EnteleKey. EnteleKey is the video game studio that we are making. We're starting that. We're in Mexico, spread across the country, and we are three people. I'm Sander. You can see me on the left of the screen. And here to my right is Jad. How you doing, Jad?
Hello. I am a little excited for this show we are starting.
Yeah, just a little, not much.
Yeah. So, should we start with our big topics?
Of course. This week we're going to be talking about the Apple announcement of the Apple Silicon, which will run iOS apps native on the Mac, and what this will mean for gaming.
We will also be talking about Microsoft and how it killed Mixer. Mixer is no more. And also, they seem to have a partnership with Facebook Gaming since a little before this, and they pushed their Mixer audience to Facebook Gaming, which apparently exists.
Yeah, right. Many people found out that week. And
Sorry.
some other quick topics this week. 2K Games announced that the NBA 2K21 price will go up $10 to $69.99, to which the internet responded, nice. Except not really. We're going to be talking about that.
Also, Evo Online has been cancelled.
What a week for the fighting games community, doesn't it? And
Oof.
also, Nintendo apologizes for the Joy-Con issues. And that's all they did regarding that topic.
Also, Animal Crossing fans are hyped up about the exact same thing they had on the last game. And why are Animal Crossing fans this weird? I don't know, look at me.
To all of us, pretty much. That game really has its sales boosted from these pandemics, doesn't it?
It's been like a safe space or a heaven in this earth, a
Yeah,
paradise.
yeah, totally. So let's begin with that big topic about Apple. Our source here is from Mac Rumors. Well, I actually saw the presentation that Apple made. Really, I read a comment online about how Apple really is a standard for presentations, for corporate presentations, and they were no exception during this coronavirus era, because they made a cool, well-produced video without that isn't just people on their homes talking just like everybody else does. And they say they were very careful about how to record that properly without infecting each other. And yeah, well, I mean, I'm a bit of an Apple fanboy, but I think they did a great job with this. So you might think, oh, this gaming news. Why are you guys talking about Apple? We certainly had this discussion internally whether or not to include this topic. And the thing here is that Macs will finally run the same architecture, yeah, the arquitectura that they have on their iPhone and iPad devices, which means, and they said this, that on day one they will be able to run the all of the iOS catalog, which means games. So imagine that, the Apple getting thousands upon thousands of games day one. We might think whatever we might want to think about mobile gaming. I know it's like a controversial topic in the community, but the reality is that it's just one very, very big segment of the market. There's lots of money involved. And the fact that Apple's getting all of these games all of a sudden uh, should really make a big impact, especially because we see things like this other news about iOS bringing gyro and rumble support to their controllers, which means that iOS apps will natively, well, they have already announced that they will natively support the Xbox and PlayStation controllers. Um, but now suddenly those games will also run on Mac, which also supports those very same controllers. So day one, Mac will have the same features as a console with this really big ecosystem, right? Side
Actually,
note here.
controllers have been, DualShock 4 and the Xbox One controller have been supported by the iOS system since iOS 13.
Yeah, it was already supporting this current version. They are improving it on the iOS 14, which is the next release. Yeah.
And this is a big topic, as you say, because of the market share of mobile gaming, which just in 2019 was about 60% of the market share of gaming, just mobile gaming.
60%. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
really big stuff there. It's no wonder why other companies are pursuing that. Like we've seen with Apple caring about, with Apple, I meant with Blizzard caring about mobile gaming. You may or may not have heard of that. The day that Blizzard realized that people may or may not have phones. Yeah, that day.
and also why Nintendo tried to get inside the mobile market.
Yeah, they really tried, and they are now stepping back from that. That's interesting because Nintendo didn't seem to be able to capitalize quite on that big market, but I think it's also a smart move because um, they're mentioning that they don't want to affect the public perception of their IPs because they are very different games, very different designs, so they don't want to really further affect the public perception of their IPs, and that's fine. I mean, not the mobile market is not for everyone. I think, but Apple
The
seems to
problem,
think that it's for them. So
well, the problem with Nintendo was not really the games per se, the IPs, but the games they made, which
yeah,
were not that bad of games, but they had a lot of paywalls.
yeah. I try to play this Mario Kart they released for the phone, and I mean, first of all, there's very little skill involved to driving. It's not about the driving per se. It's about your character. It seems they kept releasing characters, and you gotta pay for the character, and so you can get to look at the character on the screen, and that's pretty much the extent of the game. Have your look at your beautiful character like three stacked Goombas on a Mario trench coat, on a Dr. Mario trench coat. That was actually a thing.
Same as with Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, which was is mostly just the daily quest from Animal Crossing with nothing else. It takes the fun part away from Animal Crossing and just leaves the grinding part. Grinding, sorry.
Yeah, and everybody loves to grind, don't we? No, we don't. We don't. Yeah. And, well, that's cool and all of Apple, going back a little bit to the topic, to have this huge ecosystem that they pretty much created, the mobile ecosystem of apps and games. But then they won't be able to run traditional games like the ones that we see on PC. I mean, you already had to port your game. You can't just natively make it run on your on Mac if you made a game for Windows, but it at least was the same architecture and there were some common hardware expected to be found. But now you don't. You all of a sudden you have this new ARM architecture and Apple branded graphics. It's resumed. I don't think they really talked about graphics, but they have been making uh, the graphics for the iPad and iPhone for years now. So no, that won't be an Nvidia card, an AMD card anymore. Supporting could be potentially harder, but they may not seem to care. I mean, they are making a translation layer for the to be able to run x86 software on the new ARM processors, but this will only be for previously existing Mac software for the x86. What will all of this mean for new games? Will the next Tomb Raider be released on Macs, for instance? How hard will it be? What graphic performance can we look forward to? Those are really big questions that Apple left open for us. I don't know.
Well, looking back a little at the epic presentation of Unreal Engine 5,
Oh, that was beautiful.
yeah, they did mention the engine will be able to port games, well, not port, to export the games produced in them to many platforms in a native way. So many game engines already do this. You will have to tweak some things, but the game engine mostly do the job for you.
Did they mention Apple though?
They mentioned iOS, and
Huh.
Apple is saying iOS apps are
Same.
going to run on the new Macs. So by extension, shouldn't this mean that Unreal Engine 4 will natively export to the new iOS system, or I mean Mac?
Yeah. Huh. So that was Apple's plan all along, huh? I mean, the new iPad and yeah, mostly the iPad Pro has as much power or more than the current MacBook Pros on the market. And yeah, Macs are not known for performance or being extremely great at running games. But if the game will be ported by developers to be able to run on an iPad, it will run better on a Mac. That's what it is assumed to be. Oh, pretty clever of them. Man, that demo we're seeing on screen, that demo currently, and you really do forget that it is a game, not a real footage from a cave.
So I am not really an Apple fanboy, but I am pretty excited to see what's coming next year's from Apple.
Yeah, this should be pretty big, especially because maybe now that um, all the iOS games will be supported on Mac, their platform, the Apple ecosystem, will grow as big as, dare I say, Steam or something like that. We don't know. We don't know. That's why this is big. It has huge potential to grow, but currently we don't know exactly what the future holds.
So should we go to our next topic?
Yeah, let's talk about Mixer. You might have heard of this little streaming platform called Mixer. Um, that's actually not sarcastic. It was a very small platform, and they investing on big names like Ninja didn't seem to help the platform grow. Um, so now they are retiring the platform, and this is their official statement that we're seeing on screen right now. Um, I don't know if there's anything relevant to go through here. Some
Well,
quote.
they mentioned Facebook gaming as if it was something that people realize. I mean, people knew it existed.
Yeah, when most people don't. and yet they're behaving as though they'll take all of their streamers and throw them into Facebook gaming, and it'll all be fine in the world. That that was actually pretty nasty thing of them to do. The day we found out through this blog post, it was the same day that those streamers found out that they were pretty much out of job and they had to change platform and make their platform grow there. That's rough.
Especially because Mixer seemed to have less restrictions than Twitch, and some of the streamers that were on Mixer were already banned on Twitch.
Oh. So you pretty much have no other option but Facebook gaming, huh?
At the moment, yes.
And I mean, at least Facebook doesn't have as much restrictions. We all have open Facebook and seen like ads on the sidebar that is showcasing some streamers right now, and you suddenly see a semi-naked girl who, I mean, she isn't wearing big cleavage as people usually complain. No, I mean, she's doing an adults only kind of stream going on there and labeling it, and I mean attributing it to a Fortnite stream, and yeah, they really need to regulate that platform.
Okay, but what does this mean for Microsoft and their gaming platforms? I mean,
Oh.
they mentioned that Facebook gaming was going to be natively on the Xbox ecosystem now.
All right. Right, and they had these big ambitious plans for vertical integration of the Xbox ecosystem, like their cloud and the streaming service. Like you could play on the Xbox and stream it over a mixer, and people who are watching the stream could launch the game on their Xbox and also look at the stream itself on Xbox. Will they be doing and bringing all of that into Facebook gaming? I suppose so.
Let's hope so for the people that get to buy an Xbox.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, no matter what your stance on Microsoft is, or their Xbox or anything that they do, gotta admit that that's a really interesting and ambitious plan of them to make this big vertical integration of their services. It's almost like the Xbox is secondary to their plans and just another part of their plans, instead of being like their main focus. Because Nintendo, for instance, they have their Nintendo Switch currently. They may release another console in the future, and that's pretty much it. Making games for their hardware and make earnings from their hardware, whereas Xbox is part of this huge Microsoft ecosystem and technologies. And you could say the same about Sony, but Sony's gaming division is just the PlayStation, and that's it. The PlayStation Now, perhaps you may count as part of the thing, but that's really it. And Xbox seems to be more ambitious in their plans. Microsoft, especially.
It's because their plans are not only for the Xbox. They have the Xbox Game Pass, which already exists and has seen some which has actually seen success. Trabalenguas. Well, the Xbox Game Pass, which actually has seen some success on Latin America, at least.
Yeah.
With their game catalog that has apparently appeased a very big portion of section of the player base.
Yeah, I wonder if there's some information outline of the market share that Microsoft has in the world, and then be able to dissect it down to regions, like for instance, PlayStation versus Xbox versus Nintendo Switch on Latin America, and then on Europe, and then on Asia, Australia, stuff like that. But at least anecdotally, I can say that yeah, it's pretty huge. The Xbox down here in La Tierra Caliente de Mexico, and um, that has to be part of the reason why the Xbox Pass is pretty accessible and pretty convenient. And I don't know. I think that uh, Sony may be durmiéndose en los laureles. I don't know that expression in English. They may be sleeping on their success, yeah, because the PlayStation 4 overall was the most popular console last generation, and they are being like, oh well, we are releasing a PlayStation 5. Look forward to it. You won't see it for months, but it will be coming. And now that we saw it, it's like, here it is. You don't know how much it will cost, but you will buy it anyway. Whereas Microsoft is like, oh, yeah, we will have cross compatibility across games, and the same purchase will function on all systems, so you can buy the new Xbox or not. Really, it's up to you. You'll have the same ecosystem support, and you will be able to stream. And the Xbox Pass will also give you games on Windows. And it's like, wow, dude, wow.
Also, there will be many versions of the Xbox Series.
Oh yeah, a new version is rumored to come. That should be good.
There are rumors right now that says there will be an Xbox Series S that is rumored to be about $200.
Wow, that is really cheap,
Yeah.
frighteningly so.
Meanwhile, Sony is doing the exact same thing they did when they were announcing the PlayStation 3.
It's Ridge Racer.
They were very confident about the sales of the PlayStation 3 because they were the one they had the best. I mean the most
Successful
popular, the most successful console on the um,
of that generation, the
no,
GameCube and Xbox.
the generation prior to it, the PlayStation 2.
Ah, yeah, that's what yeah.
So right now the most successful one was the PlayStation 4, and they were basing their success on the PlayStation 2. Basing on that success, they made some decisions with the PlayStation 3, they seem to be doing again for the PlayStation 5, and not really taking into account many considerations that the player base want to know or see in them. They like the PlayStation 3, it was just released like, here it is. You love PlayStation 2, so you will love PlayStation 3. And that's the reason why Xbox 360 was the most successful the most successful console of that generation.
Wow, they really seem to be doing it again, huh? Well, you can only see what the future holds for both companies, while Nintendo is printing money on their toaster.
Oh, that toaster. So beautiful.
That beautiful toaster. I mean, I wouldn't complain about being able to run games as well as the other consoles do, like ray tracing and 4K and all that stuff. That would be really cool. But it's a great handheld device. It was a great idea. Everything that the Wii U ever should have been. So,
well, in the end, it's more about how much you can play on the console than the console itself. If you are, I mean, most people are on the go these days, and well, you can have a PlayStation 5 and or an Xbox 3, an Xbox X, Series X on your living room. But if you never have the time to play on your living room, what's the point of having it there?
Yeah. But it all comes at a cost. That great versatility, as the Crysis reported that they will be delaying the Crysis remaster coming to Nintendo Switch after they teased or showed how it was running. And obviously, Crysis is a very demanding game, so it barely ran on the. Actually, they didn't tease it. Actually, seems like it leaked from the comments, and and yeah, I mean, Switch is barely able to keep up already this generation with the PlayStation 4 and Xbox 360. So I really hope Nintendo has either a Nintendo Switch Pro under their sleeve, or they are already considering the successor of the Nintendo Switch. Not that they have the plan to do anything to release anything new in the next 3 years, but they should already be thinking about it because they're gonna lag pretty behind this time around if they don't. Okay, well we should go back to the other topics. We have already derailed enough for this one, um, and
Let's
yeah,
start with a quick topics.
yeah. Let's go to our quick topics now. This is usually where the sponsors would be in a show, but we don't have sponsors yet. So if you would like to sponsor us, please get in contact to our social media. Uh, so 2K Games announces the NBA 20K21 price will go up $10 to $69.99. Now, this is very interesting because games have stayed for many years in the same $60 price tag.
About
And
13 years.
about what?
13 years.
13 years. Wow, that's a lot. And inflation hasn't exactly went down in those 13 years. So how have games become profitable? Well, they have deals, they have sponsors, but most importantly, they have loot boxes. That's the monetization system. And it's funny to see that the NBA 2K21 will have a price increase because they do a lot of loot boxes inside their game. As far as I'm concerned, I haven't exactly played it, but um, they're meant to do that. They do that from what I've heard. And then why do they need more money? Well, they're justifying it that it's more expensive to make new games, and I'll tell you, it's been getting more and more expensive to make games as the years go by and the new generations comes. But why only $10 and why now? That's that's a weird question. That's a good question. I don't know.
I think the $10 increase is just enough to not feel like a big increase. But on the developer side, I mean, $10 is just too little to up the prices for the more than 200 the prices of production have increased in these past 10 or so years.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's a strange price because I mean you made a good point there that it's just enough to not feel like it's a big increase, but I don't think it's also meaningful enough for the developers to make up for the development costs. So
Maybe they plan to up the prices more on the following years.
yeah, exactly. That maybe that's their strategy. This is the first of many increases to, catch up with the actual development costs, um, and that would really make sense. I mean, obviously, as developers, we don't exactly want to lose money on each sale, but also as consumers, we also don't want to burn that much money on games. So uh, that's a tug of war there of the market, and I don't know, maybe a subscription service like what the Xbox is doing with their gaming pass is the future of gaming. I mean, certainly I was watching a video today on the music industry of how they suffered in the digital era because they what they produce, the music could be freely uh, available, freely distributed online through non-legal sites. And even though they may wanted to fight that, and the Apple Store online was the Apple Music Store, then called iTunes Store, was created to combat this. In the minds of the consumers, the products were already seen as free. They were taken they were taken for granted in that way. So why would I pay for something that I can get for free? And you can't change that mindset so easily. So what they did was turn into a subscription service that's just cheap enough for the consumers not to feel like they're paying something, in this case $10, $15. And the companies were now getting money, especially because people stopped, well, they didn't stop completely, but the widespread practice of pirating, of piracy for music was stopped, and it became just rarer and rarer. So the developers, I mean, music producers got money from their sales, and they weren't losing money, at least in that way. And the whole model business changed there. So perhaps such a revolution is in order for gaming, because I know that if you gradually make changes, the audience won't notice. And as we previously discussed, maybe they're aiming for that. But when the games reach the $100 line, I think that's when the consumers, where the gamers will say, "No, I'm not paying anymore. Sorry, Steam. Sorry, PlayStation. Sorry, whatever it is." And maybe that's when the change will happen. I don't know. I'm just speculating here, but I think it's plausible. The internet changed a lot of things, and strangely, games weren't an exception, despite being also pretty much born to the internet. Not exactly, but yeah, it came along.
We just we just have to wait and see what time gives us. At the moment, we are at the transition point, so we can't really know how it will end in some years. Well, we can speculate, but we can't be sure how this industry will evolve at the moment.
Yeah, perhaps Stadia will end up conquering the world and will be the future of gaming. I personally don't think so, but perhaps something like that, gaming as a service, will end up winning. Perhaps 2020 was a turning point that will make that will create the conditions for such a drastic change in the future to happen. I hope not. I just want 2020 to be over already.
Same. So, moving on to our next big topic. Evo Online has been cancelled.
Oh boy. Ooh, what a topic. Well, first of all, we gotta make it very clear that Evo cancellation happened independently of everything else that's going on this week. In a way that it's independent because what happened on the Smash community and all the sexual harassment allegations going on there were not the reason for the cancellation, but the allegations surrounding Joey Cuellar, who were a very important figure in the Evo tournaments. But of course, perhaps his own allegations came from, the wave of allegations that have been exploding these weeks, not just on the Smash community, but also on the Twitch community. It's been
In,
a
in
few
most
weeks
of
for.
the
Sorry, just want to complete the idea. It's been a few weeks where victims have come forward and speaking together in groups against their abusers. So I wouldn't be surprised that this isn't even the end of it. No, that's it. Go ahead.
No, it won't be the end of it. I mean, it happened on the movie industry, it happened on the music industry, and it's happening now on the gaming industry.
That's
This movement is going to reach every industry there is, as long as these things keep happening.
yeah. And I mean, yes, it's sad that your favorite streamer or singer or movie producer or streamer or whatever was uh, discovered to be a um, a harasser or having done worse in the past. But I mean, it's even sadder that that very action happened, and I believe it's important as a society to send a message that this is not okay. To harass people or worse is not okay, and we shouldn't tolerate that behavior. And I believe that's where we are headed with all of this. But this is a transition period. This is where all the news break out to the world, and it feels real bad, but eventually we will adjust, and I believe the world that will turn out from all this will be better for everybody, which is a good thing to have. But this year there's no Evo, so I was really looking forward to Evo Online this year. I was going to watch with a friend of mine, and now we don't have that.
Meanwhile, I just realized Evo existed this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very
I,
popular thing in the fighting game community, but that's just a niche of a niche, which is gaming overall. So
yeah. So, moving on to our next topic.
yeah,
Nintendo apologizes for the Joy-Con issues. And that's it. They just apologized. They didn't address what they were going to do. They didn't address if they're going to help, if they're going to keep doing free repairs. They didn't address what's going to happen in the countries they don't have support. They just said, sorry.
yeah. Let me read the quote here. Regarding the Joy-Con, we apologize for any trouble caused to our customers. We are continuing to aim to improve our products, but as the Joy-Con is subject of a class action lawsuit in the United States and is still a pending issue, we would like to refrain from responding about any specific actions. That's very sensible of them. But, here we are, the customers. I already bought my second Joy-Con repair for my Switch, and I know that's not a lot. Some other people play more and having more replacements have been done to their controllers. But I mean, I don't think anyone is exempt from this. If you have a Switch, you have had this issue, and it would be good to know that Nintendo is doing something else for the future. Like imagine they announcing a new Joy-Con model and simply fighting their Joy-Con lawsuit over the first model independently, and that way they don't need to address all of this. That I think that would be a way to resolve this, but we don't have any of that. We don't have anything but that statement.
Meanwhile, I am here a year in with my Switch and afraid every moment that moment will be the moment that the drifting will start on my controllers. And that's not something you should be afraid while using a console.
Yeah, your Switch. That's right. It's really new, so you still can enjoy the benefits of not having replaced them even once, but you also have to enjoy the consuming constant state of fear that is stacked on top of 2020. Damn, that sucks, man.
Moving on to our last quick topic. Animal Crossing fans are hyped up about the exact same thing they had on the last game, which is swimming. The only difference this time is we can all swim on the home island.
Yeah, I haven't played this update yet. We're recording on the day that it released, but I mean, this is my first Animal Crossing game, so I think you're better qualified to talk about it.
It's my second Animal Crossing game, and well, we were able to swim before in the New Leaf Animal Crossing, The only difference was that you had to take a boat to another island where you were able to swim. And we have this new character that sometimes appear to buy the stuff you buy on the sea. I mean, you find on the sea. But apart from that, there's not really much of a difference.
Wait, so that's another new character? I'm not sorry.
Uh,
Okay, perhaps a
yes,
little sorry. Continue.
it is another new character.
Yeah, more things to grind, to collect, to give to blathers at the horrendously early hour of the 12 a.m. in the morning. 12 p.m. in the morning, actually. Yeah, sorry, time is confusing.
Or as late as 5 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, it's an hour I don't want to be awake at again. But, things happen in life.
I wonder why we Animal Crossing fans are hyped up about this. I mean, they are giving us exactly what we already had on the last game.
Well, I believe that's a healthy reaction because the game had some features cut, like swimming, and we're getting them back, and we're not even paying for it. They were just like, well, we released the game with the way we released it, and we are updating it to include this past feature. Enjoy, instead of other games from the same company, which I won't name here, that released a game with less features and with several shortcomings, and the only update they released did fix some things, but it came at a price. So now I am stuck where I have to pay if I want to play with my favorite adorable pocket creature, and that doesn't feel good. I mean, I get it; they have to make money, but I mean, this just feels way better. So it is. It's not surprising to me that Animal Crossing fans are uh, hyped over this update. Now,
Well, at least it's free.
yeah. Now, what do you say that why Animal Crossing fans are weird? Is it because of this being hyped over the same old, same old?
Um, it was more like it doesn't matter what Nintendo gives us. For some reason, whatever Nintendo gives us in Animal Crossing, we all hype up about it. The
Ah.
same way we all hyped up about having stairs.
Oh yeah, remember that.
Oh, and the way we hyped up about the toe beans.
Oh yeah, the toe beans. I would look up for some images, but I'm not sure what I will find. But yeah, it's
And
cute.
that's a smart precaution.
Yeah, especially I mean, this is pre-recorded, but it is done all on the go, so I don't want to edit that out.
Well, I just remember something we all hated and we don't ever want to see again about Animal Crossing.
Oh, what is it?
The Easter event.
Oh,
Or as we all like to call the apocalypse.
yeah, I'm so glad I got my copy after all that mess happened.
It actually made me stop playing for some days.
Wow. No surprise there. I mean, what would you do? Oh, I don't think it's a good idea to play this Nintendo video in the background. um, I mean, what could you do on the game if not getting more eggs that you can't use? That was really obnoxious. They didn't even have a spawn rate, right? They were just there all the time, 100% of the time, right?
Well, at least it looked like that.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't play it. I'm saying that's just how it seemed online.
I did play through that hell, and that's how it seemed. even after the two nerfs they did on two different patches.
Wow. They nerfed it twice. Wow.
And it still felt like they were a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
I ate my last egg like a week ago. I had hundreds of eggs saved up.
Wow.
I didn't know what to do with them, and I didn't want to sell them because they didn't really give you money. But I did find use in them to to move trees and break rocks and stuff. I think we should move on to our last to
I'm
our
not
last
gonna
section.
edit that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that was the last topic. So we should move on to the next section, which is the game of the week. The game of the week is the section of in the EnteleCast where we feature a game that we play that week. This week we would like to feature Summer in Mara by Chibik Studios. Are they studios? By Chibik. And first of all, I love their name, Chibik. Love that pun. But also, wow, this is a really cute game, both in their advertisement material and their images as well as inside the game. We just played it last week. I mean, last week. Um, we played it this week and we streamed it over. We're gonna be streaming the game of the week in case you wanna join us over at Twitch. So, would you like to start saying something about it yet?
Ooh, well, since since we started the game, I was, how should I put it? Well, it appeals to my, it appeals the visual style I like.
Yeah.
It was really cute
Yeah.
in both the art and the way the story was being told.
Yeah, we were playing through the first hours of the game. They first of all, you get real big vibes from the Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. It was clear that they were aiming for that, but they were also differentiating it from that because we all have favorite games. We all like to do something like our favorite game, but we end up creating something that takes a life on its own. Um, in this case, the game introduces a crafting system that it's almost Animal Crossing like, um, and some inventory screens that feel more like Breath of the Wild. That's a great mashup. But after the initial impressions from the game being inspired on those games, you really start to feel it taking a life on its own. We started playing it in Spanish. We know that the game comes from Spain, so we really didn't want to miss on the Spanish culture, and we were happily surprised to find that the universe that they create here seems to have this fantasy world where it's inspired in both Spanish culture as well as Japanese culture. It's this weird and cool mashup of cultures, and I'm all for that. I love both countries and their cultures. That was really cool to see, and and
The characters,
yeah, the characters.
character design on this game is on point.
You're right. It feels almost like a Ghibli movie, but not quite. They look so cute.
It feels like you're playing a dream.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good way to
And
put it.
yeah, we have these characters, and I mean the way they interact with each other is more deep than the usual character mechanic. The usual interaction between between characters in other games. Like you see the grandma here. This happens at the beginning of the game, so it's not much of a spoiler. We see we see this character Yaya Haku, which is some sort of a mother grandmother figure to Koa, which is the protagonist of this game.
Dude, I really
And
thought that she was called Mara. I know how do you have a summer inside the girl? I know that doesn't make sense, but somehow I thought she was called Mara.
yeah, it actually surprised me too. Because of these dreamlike
Oh,
feelings, these dreamlike feelings the game gives.
like it
I thought,
like it was happening inside of her dream, the dreams of Mara.
uh-huh. But in the end, it was Mara is the ocean where the island where you start is.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, as I was saying, you have this grandmother, mother figure to Koa, and you interact with her, and you can see and feel she's wise, and how you can feel in their conversations the love she has for Koa.
yeah.
I mean,
No, go ahead.
the writing of the characters doesn't feel stiff at all.
Yeah, I completely agreed, and you can see the love that Yaya Haku has for Koa, and just the kind of person she is. She's a very interesting character, and Koa is interesting too. This energetic little girl. Um, I really like her as a protagonist. Actually, it's cool to see, uh, you know, uh, games like Zelda where you have big adventures, but you're a girl living an adventure. Uh, I don't know. It is an aesthetic on its own, and I like it. So yeah, if you have the opportunity, go play Summer Mara. Really cute game. Um, Congratulations to Chibik for gifting the world with this. Actually, really looking forward to their next games, and I would like to play more of their games. Actually, they have some more here featured. Perhaps we'll check them out later on some other game of the week. But for now,
That was it for the game of the week and the EnteleCast. Thank you for being here with us this week.
I'm Sander,
And I'm Jad.
and tune in next week for more news and discussion about gaming.